tonight on Size Eyes on the Skies.
As we take a look at the current conditions outside, a nice 45 degrees, clear skies, a little breezy with 13 miles an hour out of the south. Only feels like 39 though, very comfortable temps. As we take a look at the winds out there right now, as you go further southeast, the storm system is going to move through tomorrow. It's going to bring some strong winds with it. As you can see, the stronger winds are definitely down to the south and eastern part of the state. But still 12, 14 right in the central Iowa. That's still pretty breezy. We'll have more on that later in the show.
Plus, we'll have a look at the national forecast. Size Eyes on the Skies for Tuesday, February 15th starts now.
Broadcasting live from the studios at Hamilton Hall at Iowa State University, the Iowa State Meteorology Department brings you the latest weather from across the country and out your front door. This is Size Eyes on the Skies.
Good evening. I'm your host, AJ Rickman. We begin with tonight's weather story. It was on this day in 1993 that a heavy snowfall began in Kansas and Missouri around midday, and it carried on into the evening hours. This total snowfall in Kansas City was less than 5 inches, but there were heavier amounts recorded in the southern suburbs. Some parts of the Missouri Ozarks had over a foot of snow, and 2 days later, the snow cover helped to produce the coldest temperature in Kansas City in 2 years. It was also on this day in 1903 that a winter storm buried Kansas City under 9 inches of snow over a 2-day period and accounted for nearly all of the snow for that month. The snow was followed by a severe late-season cold wave. And now, to discuss more on what's happening around the country, we're going to take a look at the national forecast. All right, everybody, as we take a look at what's going on around the nation this week, it's going to be pretty busy to start. We've got a winter storm rolling through, and we might have our first shot at severe weather for the season. It's going to be a quiet end to the week, though, and I'll have more on that coming up.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
For tonight's segment of Weather Explained, we're going to talk about wind shear.
I'm meteorologist Luke Prokosch, and with me tonight is your host, AJ Rickman. And as we take a look at the graphic that we have on the screen, it's showing, the wind, not really the speed as much, but the wind direction at different levels in the atmosphere. White is 18,000 feet, blue is 5,000 feet, green is near the surface, and it is kind of what it sounds like. Wind shear is when those winds are going at different directions, creating mixing in the atmosphere, which could cause severe weather and supercells.
Absolutely. And when you get the wind moving in different directions like that, it creates a rolling motion in the atmosphere. And a lot of times when you get storms that form, they'll take that rolling motion and they'll turn it this way. And when they do that, a lot of times you'll get tornadoes that drop out of supercells. That's what causes them to rotate.
So these situations are pretty dangerous. So when you hear like your meteorologist on TV talking about them, you want to take them seriously. They're pretty bad situations for damage and stuff like that. For us, no, they're fun, but as long as they don't hit anything.
Absolutely.
But wind shear can also be a good thing, especially over water, right?
Absolutely. So meteorologists talk about wind shear for smaller storms, but then for hurricanes, they'll also talk about wind shear. And wind shear is not good for hurricanes. It will actually tear the storm apart and prevent it from getting stronger. So they're good for keeping hurricanes weak and preventing damage to life and property.
So we want wind shear over the ocean, but over land we don't want wind shear. Well, we do, but everyone else doesn't.
Exactly.
So I guess that kind of concludes what wind shear is, the dangers that come with it. Whenever you hear someone talking about wind shear, always take them seriously because it could be a bad situation, especially if you're living in the Midwest.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Size Eyes meteorologist AJ Rickman. As we begin with tonight's national weather forecast, taking a look at the satellite and radar across the country, not a whole lot going on. We've got an Alberta clipper rolling through the northern tier up into southern Canada right now, and high pressure sitting out west, and then we're going to have a little more excitement as we get later on into the week. As we take a look at temperatures right now across the country, not too bad, kind of warm for this time of year. We're in a kind of a warm snap really all across the country, so it's making for some really nice temperatures. And as we start off in the Midwest, it's 50 in Des Moines, 61 is going to be your warm spot down in Kansas City along with Hays, Kansas. And really, overall, it's nice. We've got a lot of warm air coming up into this region. To be 50 degrees in Des Moines right now in the middle of February is insane. And still, as you get up into the northern tier, upper 20s, lower 30s, and in the mid 30s as you get over towards Rapid City, 40s in Sioux Falls. It's very, very warm for this time of year. And as we get into the northeast, it's a little bit cooler, but still not too terrible. As you get up into Maine and into southern Canada, you're in the single digits. Teams down in Augusta, 22 in Albany. And then 30s as you get further down into the southern area of the northeast. But still, again, a little chilly up in this area of the country, but overall not terrible. And as we take a look at the southeastern portion of the U.S., very, very warm, very pleasant for this time of year. Mid to upper 50s, 40s up here in the Carolinas where you've got some of that cold air that's locked up behind the Appalachian Mountains. You got some cold air damming that's happening there. 70s as you get down into Florida. Really, really nice down there for any of you snowbirds who might be trying to flee from the snow and the cold up in the northern U.S. and Canada, what little bit we have up here still. Really, really great spot down there. And then 60s as you get out into Texas. And as we look at the southwestern U.S., 40s and 50s across the board, which, for this area as you get up into the Rockies, to be in the 40s and 50s at this time of year is very, very warm. Really warm as you get down into Phoenix, 75 degrees, 70 down here in El Paso, and then as you get out into California, we're sitting in the 50s, so really, really nice weather. And taking a look up in the northeast part of the U.S., really, really nice weather once again. 30s and 40s across the board, 50 as you get out into Portland, and close to 50 up in Seattle, and then over into Medford where you're close to the Pacific Ocean, you're close to the water where it's going to keep things a little warmer all the time anyway. But really across the board for the whole nation, really not too cold. Winter's kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus for the time being. But as we get into the beginning part of this week, that's going to change. As we look at our watches and warnings right now, we've got some red flag warnings as you get out across the southern tier into the southwest, Texas into Arizona, New Mexico. And then we've got some wind advisories over across the Ohio River Valley. But then take a look at these blues right in here and then the greens to the south of them. This is a winter storm watch and then a flood warning, or not a flood warning, excuse me, flood watch. We're going to be watching a winter storm with a little bit of severe side to it as well over the next couple days, and we're going to watch it push across the country and give us some pretty interesting weather. And taking a look on how that storm is going to develop, as we start out for your morning commute on Wednesday, kind of quiet. We're going to have some snow out west in the Rockies, and then we're going to have a little bit of rain starting to feed up across Texas and southern Oklahoma. But then as we go through the day on Wednesday into your 5 o'clock commute, pay attention, Texas, Oklahoma, and then across Missouri, Illinois, Indiana. You guys are going to start to get some rain filtering in, and then as we go through the night Wednesday and then into the morning on Thursday, we're going to see that change over to snow. Northern Texas, across Oklahoma, Kansas, some of those areas that got hit a couple weeks ago by a pretty good winter storm. You guys are more or less in the bullseye once again. As we go through the day on Thursday and then into the evening on Thursday, you guys are going to get a good shot of snow. There's going to be some rain. Texas into southern Oklahoma, you guys are going to want to keep an eye out for an isolated severe storm here or there. Not going to be a big widespread tornado outbreak or nothing terrible like that, but you're going to want to keep an eye out for some hail, some gusty winds here and there. And as we push through the day on Friday, it's going to very quickly move across the eastern half of the country, give them a good shot of rain, and then impact the northeast and push off the coast of the U.S. and be out of our hair for the weekend. And as we take a look at our 500 millibar heights, this kind of gives us an idea on what the upper atmosphere is doing and is a pretty good indicator of our temperatures. You can see this dip in the heights right here. This kind of represents a dip in the jet stream, and it's going to, as we sit right now, our low pressure system that's going to be bringing us the storm sitting right in here, right in that dip. And as we go through the day on Wednesday and through the day on Thursday to about noon, we're going to watch this. Trough push across the U.S. And right about this point, our low pressure system would be here. It's going to be this is when our storm is going to be ramping up and hitting Texas, Oklahoma, across the middle of the country. And then as we push through into Friday, we're going to still see that trough affecting the U.S. There's going to be a cold shot of air behind this storm. A lot of times there are at this time of year. But it's not going to be anything long-lived or really especially severe like we saw earlier in January and in the early part of February. And as we take a look at the snowfall forecast of what we're going to get from this system, like I said earlier, Missouri up into Illinois, Indiana, back into Kansas, and then northern Oklahoma, you guys are going to see the worst of it. You're going to get a lot of snow out of this storm, and that's going to keep things cold for a couple days after that storm passes while that snow melts. You guys are going to be experiencing some colder temperatures in areas around you that don't have a snowpack right now. And then, like I said earlier, this storm does have a warm sector to it, and there will be the possibility of some severe weather across a lot of Oklahoma, northern Texas. You guys are going to want to keep an eye out. Like I said earlier, we're not looking at a huge tornado outbreak or anything especially damaging and dangerous, but you guys are going to want to keep an eye out. There's going to be some thunder, going to be some lightning. You might get a little bit of wind damage, occasional hail here and there. The possibility of a tornado can never be ruled out with a situation like this, so it's something to keep an eye on, but overall it's not looking like it's going to be an especially widespread or severe event. And then as we take a look at the week ahead in our weather challenge forecasting city, Bismarck, North Dakota, it's going to be cold. But as you look towards the end of the week, they're going to have a pretty nice warm-up. Although it does look like as we get into early next week, there's going to be a pretty big crash in the temperatures and the possibility for some snow. Now, let's take a look at tonight's trivia question. Tonight's trivia question is, on average, how much snow does Ames see during a typical winter? Is it A, 20 inches, B, 24 inches, C, 32 inches, or D, 40 inches? We'll have your answer coming right up. But now, let's have a look at the week ahead with Luke.
All right, thank you, AJ. Now let's look at the temperatures outside. Like I said earlier, very nice, very comfortable temps across all of the state. Because of that snowpack, even though it's been very diminished recently, see a lot of high temperatures down in southwestern Iowa, 55 in Council Bluffs, 52 in Creston, still 48 in Des Moines, 44 in Ames, very warm temps. This will change coming up, but I'll talk about that later in the show.
I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
We're doing it.
I'm testing for HIV.
Knowing your HIV status allows you to stay healthy.
I do it for my sisters.
To stay strong.
For your partner. I care for my community.
I do it to lead by example.
We do it for love.
And now it's your turn to get tested for HIV.
It's fast, it's free, and it's confidential.
Make HIV testing a part of your routine.
Visit cdc.gov/doing it.
I'm doing it. Are you?
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Luke Prokosch. As we take a look at the satellite radar, very cloudy out there, or not really too cloudy. I read it wrong. Not too cloudy. It's very hazy, warm temps out there. The clouds will be moving through today into tomorrow, moving out on Thursday. As you take a look ahead at the futurecast, see those clouds sticking around all day tomorrow. A little bit of snow, a little chance of snow. Might see a couple inches extreme southeastern Iowa. Some rain, freezing rain possibilities too. So if you're living down there, keep an eye out on the roads. Be safe, drive safe. As we move ahead into Thursday, those clouds start to move out. Very sunny skies. It's going to be very cold though. It's not going to be pleasant. Okay, well, not as cold as it was earlier in the month, but still not pleasant based on the last couple days. And we move into Friday, into the weekend. We start to see those clouds coming back. Partly cloudy skies, sunshine here or there. Might see a little snow chance up in northeastern Iowa. Not too much of anything though, no concern there. As we move ahead and look at the skycast for tonight, that's a low of 37, which is very close to our high temp for tomorrow. We got that cold front moving through tonight. High temps are just going to be dropping all day tomorrow. Partly cloudy, hazy skies will move to cloudy skies as we get more towards morning. And to take a look at tomorrow, our high, 41, that's going to occur at midnight tonight. So when you see 41 and sunny, it's not going to be a nice day. By the time noon o'clock, yes, you heard that right. By the time of noon hour, you will see about mid-30s, low 30s around the state, especially the further northwest you get, you might even see in the 20s. Strong winds, too, with this cold front coming through. And you got the cold. Returning tomorrow through Thursday, it will start to warm back up on Friday. Chance of snow in southeastern Iowa, and a warm weekend ahead, possibly 60 in parts of the state on Sunday. And as we take a look at those winds in the future cast, tomorrow, 8 a.m., the wind's moving in behind that cold front. Not a great representation of the cold front, but you can kind of see right there. We got that system moving through in the southeast. Strong winds, 19 in Fort Dodge, 18 in Ames. With the cold temperature coming in behind it, we're going to have some wind chill concerns with it. Not as bad as earlier in February, but 20, 22 in Carroll, 19 in Ames, 20 in Des Moines. You're going to want to hold on to your hats. You know, if you're actually wearing hats out there, I know I always wear a hat, not on TV, but, you know, I need to hold on to my hat those days. Take a look at the wind chill forecast, like I mentioned earlier. You know, 14 degrees for wind chill. You know, temps are only going to be about 22, maybe 23 at that point, but the winds are going to be pretty strong. It's not going to feel like the temperature says, so bundle up tomorrow through Thursday. Thursday morning, we're going to be waking up. Minus 12 in Fort Dodge, minus 13 in Spencer, you know, even minus 2 down in Tumwa. It's still cold. You want to bundle. It's still February, guys. You know, the 40 degrees, it was fun while it lasted. It'll come back, don't worry. Spring's coming. Fall spring's coming, I should say, but you know, wind chills stick around for much of the day, Thursday into Friday, and those temps will start to come back. As you look at the lows tonight, though, like I said, you see that cold front moving through already. 22 in Spencer, 28 in Fort Dodge, 45 in Des Moines, and that is our high for tomorrow as well. Like, it's a very weird day tomorrow. Just be cautious of the temperature throughout the day. 48 in Des Moines, 41 in Ames. We already talked about the highs around the state. It's just going to be, the highs are they're not accurate on what the day is going to be like tomorrow. So as we move throughout the day, so midday, 36, 35 in Ames, 28 by 6 o'clock, 26 by 8. Those winds are going to be very strong out of the northwest. So bundle up tomorrow. It's going to be a cold one. And as we take a look ahead, you know, we got those breezy conditions. Morning high of 41 degrees, 18 for a high on Thursday. So not what it's been like for the last week. But there is some relief coming. 47 on Friday, 39 and sunny on Saturday, 55 on Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday we might see a little rain and a little cool down with the system possible. We'll keep an eye on that and let you know more as we learn more by Thursday.
Thank you, Luke, for that forecast. And now, let's review tonight's trivia question. The trivia question was, how much snow on average does Ames normally see during winter? Is it A, 20 inches, B, 24 inches, C, 32 inches, or D, 40 inches?
What do you think it is, AJ?
Well, shout out to our Professor Dave. He drills this one into our heads all the time in all 3 classes we've had with him, so I think you and I both know the answer to this one.
I think he'd be really mad if we didn't know the answer.
Yeah, he probably would be pretty upset with us.
So, going with 32?
I think we're going with 32.
All right.
There we go, 32 inches.
Oh, look at that. The answer is C. It's usually always B. I don't know why.
I figured I'd switch it up a little bit for tonight, you know. I will say, though,
we have control on that.
Yeah, exactly. But that concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can find every show on YouTube under our Size Eyes channel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Have a great night.